Okay. Hey everyone. It's been a while. Um I already shot this video Tuesday, or some of what's going to be in this video Tuesday, but became very angry and very rambly cuz I am very not in the best of headspaces right now. Nothing like oh as Nova Online would say, my mental health is so shit, sort of thing. Yes, I am following the lolcow known as Nova Online. I find him deeply fascinating in like the scuzziest way possible. But anyway, what's been going on this month? There hasn't really been anything in over a week, going on 2 weeks. I A lot of things kind of happened at once at midway through April. We had I had to go to a funeral, and that kind of started throwing things off with the channel, which normally I'm typically ahead by at least a week reading to review wise, and that's because I'll alternate between series in order to do that. And that's typically my read order. But sometimes I get sucked into a specific series. It was Narnia, my reread of Narnia, which is done. I've read everything Narnia, and A Series of Unfortunate Events, which I'm on book 12 of. So after that, I have two side little stories, which would be 13 Things you Wish You Didn't Know About Lemony Snicket, and the Beatrice letters, which I'm prepared to be kind of irritated with the latter. I have no expectations for the former. It's going to take me 2 seconds to read. In fact, they'll probably get reviewed together because I don't think I'm going to have much to say on either that hasn't already been said. So anyway, I've been working on those and trying to get that stuff done. And stuff just kept falling behind, not getting any filming done. Work was crazy. Last month we finished up. Instead of working 5 8-hour days, we would work 5 10-hour days, which doesn't seem like a lot, but my job is very draining. I'm stuck here at the house. It's very boring, mixed with a lot of unnecessary stress that I won't get into. But I'm trying to find a new job. That's one of the big things that's been behind the scenes for a while now. But I'm kind of doubling down on that because I've had enough. I've legit had enough. I don't get paid enough to deal with what I deal with, and I'm just over it. This month, I went to the doctor for the first time ever, which I won't get into, except for your boy has perfect hearing and 20/20 vision still, which is excellent. So another health thing that we're monitoring, but it's not a big thing. Don't worry about me. I'm fine there. Although now I'm going to the doctor on the regular basis, so that's a thing. But the big thing that happened is we have another funeral that's this weekend. We're going to actually a rodeo tomorrow, which is awesome. I've never been to one, so it's going to be an exciting experience. But we're going from that to a funeral in the Bay Area, which is not so fun, obviously. Anyway, we have that going on, and then everything in this house just about broke. I'm not kidding. The air conditioning broke, which it's been really hot here, which is very unfortunate. This ceiling unit that's above me, I hope you like this goofy tapestry that my wife found that she just had to get last weekend. I kind of like it. I kind of like it as a backdrop. But anyway, our Mr. Cool ceiling unit, because we don't have central heating and air in this house, God forbid. We live in a city that gets about 110 degrees in the summer, and like none of the rental properties really have central heating and air. But this is better than our last house, which had that awful swamp cooler that was molding all my books and just blew hot air in. It was terrible. This is an actual AC unit, and with using fans the right way, we can blow the air down the hall to the other rooms. But we haven't had that because something happened last time we used this, which was months and months ago. It was back in 2025, and something broke, and the panel, the electric panel, broke. So that's going to have to be fully replaced. My landlord's not happy. On top of that, our shower, unless you shower like at 4 in the morning, there's no cold water. Which I don't, because of my psoriasis, I don't take hot showers. I actually take a cold shower. It's how I wake up in the morning. If I'm not working out, I take a cold shower. Even when I'm done working out, done with like kickboxing, I go and take a cold shower. Well, you get 2 minutes of cold water, and then it's boiling hot. Unless you do it really early in the morning. So we've had maintenance come out. They came out Monday to look at it, and this was a problem last year too. And they did a weird fix that wasn't a fix that caused damage to the shower, and so they switched it back, and now it's doing this thing. So my landlord is coming out tomorrow, which is a whole thing. That's we haven't had him over in over a year. He still owes us a screen on the window over there, which he promised us when we moved in, and has never delivered on. So I'm not a big fan. I'm also not like a hater either. I'm just kind of in between. They're fine as landlords. It's a husband and wife that own it. It's the husband that's coming out. The wife is also our property manager, which is kind of convenient. Makes certain things easier to deal with. But yeah, we've been like doing a lot of cleaning, like extra cleaning, because of the cats. It's shedding season, so there's cat hair everywhere, so you're constantly cleaning. The pool now has a leak in it, which is really obnoxious. I have to find a leak, where the leak is. I've narrowed it down to a corner of the pool, but I haven't found it specifically. I have a special dye, like, syringe thing, so I'm going to fill the pool up all the way and kind of swim around and try to figure it out next weekend. We're not going to have time this week, because we'll be gone all weekend. So that's been going on. But another thing kind of went down in April that I didn't talk about. I was thinking about doing a Legends podcast on it, but it involves more than just the Star Wars community. So I'll talk about it here. Two of the biggest audiobook channels that I listen to went down. YJK Audiobooks, which I think a lot of the Star Wars community is aware of going down, because it was fully nuked. I don't know what happened, but one day, another YouTube channel I noticed, first, he had the English translations of the German Indiana Jones books, which, once I'm done with Tomb Raider, I'm very much considering listening to those English translations, because I don't have the prints of the English translations. I think I have PDFs somewhere, but I've lost them. They're on a drive somewhere in my office. So I was going to listen to them while working. And that's... two of them have been re-uploaded to Rumble, but they had been pulled. And I was like, that's weird. Quality Autism reached out, and he's like, hey, what happened to these German, the German Indiana Jones books? And I'm like, I don't know. That's really weird. They're gone. And so I started looking, and because the guy, this would be Patrick Predator, YouTube channel Patrick Predator, his channel's still up, although he basically doesn't really upload to it anymore. I reached out to Patrick Predator, and I'm like, hey, what happened to all of your audiobooks? Because all of his audiobooks suddenly were all pulled from YouTube. And he's like, well, YouTube's new policy is that you can't do like audiobooks or something, you can't use other people's material unless you have a certain amount of your own material on the video, which I think is weird. So basically all YouTube audiobook channels that aren't Fulcrum Entertainment, which Fulcrum barely does audiobooks now, you can't, they really can't upload anymore, even if they're reading it. Although the YouTube seems to be, like, Google seems to be primarily going after the AI based ones. So Patrick Predator's channel got demonetized. He was forced to take a bunch of his stuff down. Thankfully, some of it has gone up on both his Patreon and his Rumble. More so on the Rumble. So if you're on Rumble, go check him out. But YJK Audiobooks got fully nuked. Not only did their YouTube channel get nuked, their Patreon got nuked, which I thought was extra, pardon my French, it was fucked. Because they had just about every YA Star Wars book in audiobook form. I mean, I think they were missing Science Adventures, Episode 1 Adventures, and Adventures in Hyperspace. I think that was it. But they had just finished Episode 2 Adventures. They remastered a bunch of their Young Jedi Knight stuff. But yeah, it was really weird. They also had all the Bantam Indiana Jones books, and were just done an audiobook for the fan novelization of Fate of Atlantis. So I was pretty excited to see where they were going to go, whether they were going to start doing the Wolfgang Wollbein German Indiana Jones books, or perhaps, oh god, what was the other? The Steve Perry novel, Army of the Dead, Indiana Jones and the Army of the Dead, because they were starting to do the Young Indiana Jones YA books, which no one's ever done, and it was kind of exciting to be following YJK audiobooks. They were going in some interesting directions, and suddenly they're gone without a trace. No one really knows what happened, but they just deleted everything. And it's really weird I get deleting the YouTube channel, but deleting the Patreon is very frustrating. Their Patreon was excellent, by the way. I was a member of their Patreon for a long time. I really liked using it. I mean, that's how I really got through Jedi Apprentice, was that. So I'm very thankful that they were around, but I was really counting on them, because this year I'm going to be jumping into the Jedi Prince books, and I wanted to listen to those, because I could probably get through 3 of those in one day. And that's now not happening. I know there's a few YouTube channels that have popped up now that are doing more Star Wars stuff, because we still have Decade Bird and Hidden Gems. They're still around. My thing is, Decade Bird's fine. Hidden Gems is almost unlistenable unless they're remastering like one of the older books on tape from the Bantam era of Star Wars. Like, I listened to their Tales from Jabba's Palace, and that was fine. But their audiobook for Hard Merchandise was so bad, I ended up buying the Kindle version of it and listening to the text-to-speech on Kindle, because it was easier to follow than like what Hidden Gems was doing. Hidden Gems irritates me. I've listened to a few of theirs, like True Colors. They kind of have the monopoly on the Karen Travis Commando books, which is unfortunate. They have the monopoly on a few things. But yeah, there's been a few new audiobook channels popping up, but I wouldn't hold my breath on them. And I normally don't preach this, because it's technically stealing someone's content. But if you're so inclined to archive it, because a lot of that YJK stuff didn't get archived, and it's now missing. Some of it was, and some of it was thrown on a Rumble channel called Star Wars Audiobooks, which wasn't just Star Wars Audiobooks. It was pretty confusing. And Rumble, the Rumble apps, I use Rumble solely because certain things get banned on YouTube for no reason. I'm not talking red pill content, although Rumble is just full of red pill nonsense. But like these audiobooks, that's primarily why I go on Rumble, is to find the fan audiobooks. Because it's not like Lucasfilm's gonna do audiobooks for the YA stuff, Star Wars YA stuff, or any Indiana Jones stuff at this point. They're not going to do it. Or hell, the Dark Horse Publishing Aliens and Predator novels from the 2000s. They're not gonna make audiobooks for that. In fact, hell, they don't make audiobooks for the new Alien stuff anymore. Because you're talking to someone who bought all but one of the Titan Books unabridged audiobooks. I don't own Alien Echo. It's the only one I don't own. And I mean, like, some of those just terrible stuff, like Into Cadris, like Colony War. I own all of those audiobooks. All of them. I was a dedicated customer through Kindle and Audible for the Alien stuff. And it's disappointing that they're not doing that anymore, which is why I've not even bothered with Alien Cults and Perfect Organisms. I just don't feel like it. I don't know if they've even announced another Alien novel this year. Honestly, I haven't looked. I've been so focused on the old Dark Horse comics that I just haven't cared about anything else Alien. I think we had a new Alien trailer for something. I couldn't tell you what it was. It popped up on my YouTube, an ad on a YouTube video I was watching, and I skipped it because I just don't care anymore with the new stuff. I really don't. I said I would do Perfect Organisms and Cult, and I'll do them at some point, but probably after that, I'm piecing out of the Titan Books era of Alien stuff, because they've been building to this humans versus engineer war for I don't know how many years now, and I doubt it will ever happen. Because I don't think the new Free League RPG is selling well. I don't know anyone that plays it. You know, I know they went out of their way to do that big Kickstarter thing for it, which I did not. I considered funding it, but it was way too much money, and I said no. I said no at that point, but that was like that last thing that the Alien IP had going for itself. We'll see if we get an AVP film after Predator Badlands being as decent as it was. It wouldn't be. We will probably get another Predator film sooner rather than later. I hope we get an AVP film. I'm not holding my breath on it being good, but we may get that. And I only care because I really hope we get some big Marvel omnibuses of AVP stuff. Because they haven't done that, probably because the AVP movies did so poorly, and everyone hates them. It's kind of ruined AVP as an IP. We'll get to that when I get to reviewing that stuff, because I do now own just everything except for 2 one-shot AVP comics. I don't own the action figure comic, and I don't own AVP Dead Space, which was a free comic book day one-shot back in 2008 to tie in. Was that when AVP Requiem came out? Was 2008? I can't remember. But I believe it was a tie-in for Requiem, even though it has nothing to do with that. And that's never been collected at anything. I may read it at some point if someone puts it on Internet Archive, because at this point, I'm done hunting down single issues of things that are hard to find. I learned with like the Tomb Raider, those Tomb Raider one-shots that I reviewed end of last month, that you could find it on the Internet Archive typically and read it there. And I would rather do that than track down single issues. I don't have space for that. I don't. And I just don't really care to anymore. I'm not into collecting single issue comics. I'm just not. I don't like storing them. They're such a pain to have laying around. I have a handful from various things I've bought that come with a single issue, but I try not to collect that sort of thing. That's why I prefer omnibuses, but if I can't get an omnibus, a trade will do just fine. So, yeah, this has gone on for a hot minute here. So I should probably explain what the plan is. So I won't be coming back till the beginning of June. That's my goal, is to come back to YouTube. I will at least have 2 videos out a week, maybe doing 3 for a short period of time, but I kind of want to dial it back to 2, especially if I get a new job. I don't think I will have time to do 3 videos a week. I will be filming starting next week. Next week I will start filming again and editing, because I'm going to make time for that, because this week has been about fixing things, fixing what I can around the house, because that's just how it's been. But I'm pretty much over that. Most of the stuff that's broken now is up to professionals to fix. It's not up to me to fix anymore. So that's a thing. So yeah, I should be back by the beginning of June. And I'll be tackling your Tomb Raider, Star Wars, because we're getting into post-Jedi. We're getting into post-Jedi again, which is exciting. That's the other reason I wanted to take a break, is I wanted to get through some what I call supplemental reading, which is just rereading Shadows of the Empire and Tris of Bakura, so they're fresh in my mind. I've already started rereading Shadows of the Empire. I don't plan to re-review either of them. With Shadows of the Empire, I know my opinion stands the way it was in my review. I've watched my reviews of them, and I think they hold up well enough, and I don't see a point in doing them again. I am considering redoing my reviews for the X-Wing Rogue Squadron comics, which is coming up sooner rather than later. So that might be something to look out for. With Aliens, we've got one more story called Stronghold, which I'm about a quarter of the way through now. That's the last one of the second omnibus, and then I have to jump into the third omnibus, which I don't plan... I'll film that review as soon as I get that done, but I'm not sure if I'll do that or jump back into the Bantam novelizations of this Aliens material and go through those, because I believe Teach's channel's still up, and we still have all his Alien stuff. I'd have to look. I haven't looked in a week. But yeah, Teach is one of the last bastions of audiobook channels. But there's a handful of new ones that have kind of cropped up on YouTube, as well as there's a new one on Rumble I just discovered, which may or may not be re-uploads of Hidden Gems stuff. Could even be Hidden Gems. I wouldn't put it past... Hidden Gems has kind of been on the ball with stuff for a long time, even though I don't care for their recordings. I find them very sloppy and hard to get through. But they've done so much, especially with the short stories, which I never thought of getting audiobooks for those. So that's kind of neat. So I'll be checking out the more of these audiobooks. And I do read the actual books, but I like to have both, and I go back and forth. That's kind of how I get through reviews quickly. But we'll have more material. Really looking forward to finishing out Narnia and finishing out Series of Unfortunate Events, which is going to be excellent. So anyway, Cleo and I are signing off. We'll see you in a few weeks. You have a good one.